This is what the Cadillac caliper looks like on this conversion. The problem is that I find that the emergency brake does not work very well because you don't have the self-energizing effect that drum brakes have. It takes a lot more force to put the brakes on, so I'm going to try and increase the force that the emergency brake lever puts on. Okay, this is the other end of the emergency brake cable that comes down from the cab, hooks onto there. So by increasing the length of this bar here, I can increase the leverage on it I move it out here, I think about 3 inches. Okay, here's the stock unit. It's a little bit more than 3/16. I found this piece of 1/4 inch by 1.5 inches. It's just a little bigger, but it'll work. There's clearance for everything. I'm going to mark the stock one on there where the stock holes are. Don't need that one, but that's a pivot point. That's a pivot point. And then I make this thing longer, and then I'll put 2 inches, 3 inches, and 4 inches longer the hole. That way I can experiment with them. And put a little bluing on there so I can mark it. Okay, one hole left to do. I found that oil does help. I snuck up on it with 3 different size drills. A little bit at a time works better. The reason I leave it, I haven't cut it to length yet, is it gives me a lot more leverage, something to hang on to. I'll cut it to length after I drill the hole. Cut the notch with a handsaw. Get the rough edges off it so I don't cut myself. Here's the finished product. Okay, that little trouble getting the cotter keys into the clevis pins, so it's a little bit too thick at 1/4 inch. So I'm going to grind it down. Okay, there's the finished product, ground down right where it needed to be. The brake cables that come with the kit have pressed on ends, both ends, so you can't change the length of them. So if you don't have enough room, enough adjustment in your emergency brake setup, you have to shorten them a little bit. They make this tool for taking slack out of the line. This is a cheap Chinese thing. That's at the end of the threads, and it's just barely moved down just a little bit. So I solved that problem by putting this spacer here. And that way I've got threads that I can pull this down and pull it down even tighter. The spacer is just a 5/16 steel brake line, double flared on one end. Put the flare end against that, and then the flat end, the nut on it. Okay, here's the finished system. I'm going to start with the 3 inches out from the stock system, stock mounting, and see how that works. And if I don't have enough travel, I'll try the 2 inch. We'll see how it goes. You could probably use a 3/16 bar. I happen to have a 1/4 inch bar, but I had to grind it down a little bit because this clevis pin wouldn't fit. You know, there wasn't room to get the to put the cotter pin. I probably could have gone and bought a longer cotter clevis pin, but anyway, we'll see how this works out. Okay, so now I'm going to tighten up the, because you don't have as much travel, I have to tighten the brakes as close to tight as I can get them by tightening up that screw there that was on the cable. And while I'm doing that, every now and then I'll reach down and turn the wheel. And I want to stop adjusting when I just start to get a little drag there. Okay, let's see how this works at 20 miles an hour. Yeah, it slows it down a bit. It's not perfect, but one heck of a lot better than it was.